Is Battlefield 2042 really that bad? Now, just to kind of give my history with this game, I played it a little bit during the beta and then played it for like 2 hours at launch, and that was it. Why do games nowadays have to do all, like, I don't care about your battle pass. I want to play the game, man. I hop in here, there's like a bunch of missions being spammed at me and battle passes and all these different pop-ups and stores, man. Can't I just play the game? Wait a minute, does this game actually have classes now? See, back when I first played it, there was like all those like specialists and stuff like that. Did they actually bring back like the traditional classes? Oh wait, oh no, it seems like they did a hybrid of the two. So I guess you still have your specialists, but now they work inside of the individual classes. For some reason, looking at all this gives me like Rainbow Six Siege vibes. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to work with it. I have a weird confession to make. Most times when I play Battlefield games, I'm not even playing Conquest, I'm just playing TDM. I know that's probably really bizarre or weird for me to say, but it's just, I don't know, I love TDM. Maybe it's because when it comes to FPS games, I mostly play COD, but I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I still do play Conquest, and I do thoroughly enjoy it. It's just, I don't know, I found myself in TDM more than anything, trying to, you know, rack up as many kills as possible. I don't know, like, during launch when I first played the game, like, I had a lot of fun with it. It's just, for some reason, I stopped playing and I never came back to it. I was actually pretty shocked to hear that people, like, really didn't like the game, because from the little bit that I played, I actually thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I gotta say, right off the bat, visually, this game definitely got an upgrade. I remember when I first played it, it didn't look bad necessarily, but it definitely didn't look as good fidelity-wise as something like Call of Duty Vanguard at the time. It didn't even look as good as their previous games like Battlefield 1. But now looking at it, I mean, the trees are moving, there's more blades of grass, everything just looks a lot more detailed overall. It's a pretty good looking game. Just had to do a settings check. Every time that I play a new game, I always have to make sure that motion blur is off and all this other stupid crap is off. I always have to come to the settings and also turn all this off. Like whenever it comes to like camera shake and all this other stuff, I don't do well with all the crazy camera shaking. Like I can handle it. It's just, I don't know, sometimes it's a bit much. I'm sorry if I seem more clueless in this video than usual. It's just, I'm trying, oh wow, we got defeated already. I literally didn't even get to play the game. I spent all the time in the settings. Does this game have a scoreboard yet? I remember there was a lot of controversy about the game needing a literal scoreboard update. How do I get to the next game? Is it gonna do it automatically? If I'm gonna be honest, the one thing that I must say about this game after returning to it like 2 years after it's been out now, it's not the most intuitive thing in the world. Like even, you know, I mean, Call of Duty kind of has this problem too, to a certain extent, where you're kind of like, you're going through the menus and you're like, what is all of this? I mean, for me personally, I don't really have a problem with that, but I've heard that sentiment from a lot of newer players where they'll be like in MW2, for example, they'll be scrolling through the menus and they're like, how do I get to the multiplayer? How do I get to Warzone? What is all this? And I'm kind of having that, but with this game right now, it's just like, I'm trying to figure out how all the different menus and matchmaking stuff and classes work. All right, so this is the map we're playing on now. It seems like a decent size. All right, now that I turned off all the stupid camera shaking stuff, is it a bit more, oh yeah, that's a lot more bearable to play. I can't stand when the camera's shaking all over the place and I can't even see what's happening. Another thing I must say, at least compared to other Battlefield games, is just like, it doesn't feel as fluid. It's really hard to explain, but something about it just feels a little janky. And you guys know me, I grew up with like PS1 and PS2 games, so you know, I don't have any problems with like clunkiness or jank in games. That being said, it does kind of stick out to me considering that this is a sequel to an FPS that tends to be very fluent. Like when you're playing it, it feels very good. There's just something about the way that this game feels when you're running around, the aiming, the shoot. It's just, it doesn't feel very polished, I guess, at least not compared to like Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 5. Like when you're running around and shooting and moving, like it feels good. It still feels decent. It doesn't have that level of polish that their previous games did. That being said, I've yet to have, oh, first kill maybe? Maybe? Yes, okay, first kill. The aiming feels a little weird too. Maybe that's just my Call of Duty brain going crazy, but it's like, you know, normally in COD when you ADS, it slows down your sensitivity a bit so you can do like more fine aiming, but in this game, it's like, it's very all over the place. I have to be like very careful where I'm, oh god, yeah, see what I mean with the shooting? It's like, it feels very, bleh. Again, not bad by any means, but it feels like this was made by like a AA developer. Like this is something that I would expect feeling out of like PUBG. I think for me, it's like mainly a feedback thing, because even in like previous Battlefield games, they've nailed the feedback perfectly. Where like when you're shooting, you know that you're shooting somebody. When you get that kill, like it's satisfying. But in this game, it's like, it's lacking that feedback loop that makes you feel truly satisfied as you're getting those hit markers, as you pull off the kills, as you're even just shooting. I know I'm really not even talking about the game itself at this point. point and I'm just talking about how the game and the gameplay feels, but I feel like in an FPS that's like arguably the most important part, at least like in an FPS like this where it's all about like competitive gameplay. And again, I'm not even trying to give like an analytical review or anything. I'm just like giving my first raw impressions as I'm playing this again for the first time in 2 years. I remember back during 2021, man, that made me feel like a kid again, just like seeing the 3 FPS giants coming back, and it seemed like it was just gonna be like an amazing time for FPS games, and then, well, we all know how that turned out. I had a lot of fun with Call of Duty Vanguard. I thought that that was a great game. Halo Infinite was fantastic. It was just a little lacking on content, and I'm pretty sure it's still lacking on content to this day. Honestly, I'm not sure because I haven't even touched that game in months. Honestly, if you guys would want a video on that, I'd be more than happy to check out Halo Infinite and see how that's holding up nowadays, see if there's more content, see if there's more just things to do in general in the game now. And then, yeah, Battlefield 2042, like I said, I played it for 2 hours on launch day, a little bit during the beta, and that was it. I haven't touched it since. It's just a little sad how things turned out, you know, because it could have been like the big comeback, like Battlefield, Halo, COD, 3 mega FPS giants going at it for years to come, and then things just kind of turned out the way that they did, and it's just, I don't know, it kind of makes me sad. Obviously, Call of Duty went on, and now Modern Warfare 2 is one of, if not the best-selling Call of Duty game of all time. Halo Infinite is still trying to regain its footing, and Battlefield 2042, same thing, is also trying to regain its footing. Right now, Battlefield 2042, I saw it on the main menu, they're on like Season 5, so, you know, that's pretty cool. There's still like more content coming to the game. Same thing with Halo Infinite. They're doing their damnedest to try to make that game work. They're only on like Season 3, I think, though. Season 3 for a game that's been out for literally 2 years at this point, and the one season lasted for like 10 months. Maybe it just has something to do with the gun that I'm using. Do they have like a sniper class by default that I can use, Recon? Let's see if maybe the sniper works a bit better. Another thing about this game that's kind of adding to my like feeling of disconnection from it, there's too much going on in the HUD. Like other Battlefield games had that great balance of knowing what needed to be shown on the HUD at all times. Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, Battlefield 4, literally every other Battlefield game, like it just, only the essential things were on the HUD. Otherwise, it was a very clean looking HUD. It was very immersive. You could just focus on the game, but the whole time that I'm playing, like the cluttered HUD is just in my vision the whole time, and there's that feeling of disconnect there because there's so much going on down there. Okay, so we got the snipers here, and oh god, I'm getting hit markers right off the bat. I mean, the sniper feels relatively okay. I might have to tinker with some sensitivity settings there because, like, you know, when I'm running around, the sensitivity feels fine, but when I ADS, it's moving way too fast here. So, yeah, I mean, the sniping, it feels pretty good. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I would actually prefer to snipe in Battlefield over Call of Duty because, like, the ADS time is actually really fast in this game, and it feels really good to pull off. Oh, no. Melee? Maybe? Oh, I did it. The camera's glitching all over the place, but I did something. It's crazy. I was doing absolutely terrible with an assault rifle. Then as soon as I pull out the sniper, my AR MW2 from 2009 comes out. I'm actually about to have a change of heart right here. This sniper is actually really fun to use. Now, don't get me wrong. For all the complaining I've been doing in this video, which I don't even feel like it's necessarily been complaining, I'm just kind of talking about my thoughts on the way that the game feels to play. Beyond some very minor complaints that I have, and again, I've just kind of been nitpicking in this video and just kind of like describing how the game feels to play. I'm not even trying to be negative. I'm just describing how the game feels. Beyond that, I mean, the game looks great. It feels good to play. Like, once you get into the swing of things and you're like, you know, moving around, aiming, shooting, getting into gunfights, like, the game feels good in a way, but there's also other parts of it where it feels not as polished as their other games. You know what I mean? Like, the core of the game, the gameplay itself, it feels like classic Battlefield. It feels great. It just lacks some of the polish that even their previous games, like Battlefield 1, 5, or 4 had. But otherwise, now that I'm sniping, man, the other guns felt good and all, but this sniper feels really satisfying to use. The feedback really feels good with this one. The assault rifle, yeah, for some reason not so much, but with the sniper, yeah, this thing feels really good. When you're pulling off the headshots, the medals are coming up, and the hit markers are going, for some reason, this just feels really satisfying. This is mainly why I like Battlefield TDM so much, because, like, you get smaller snippets of bigger Battlefield maps. You get, like, that really open and sandboxy Battlefield level design, but it's still on a smaller scale, and you still have that, like, fast-paced action that you would get from, like, a classic TDM type experience, except it's in Battlefield. I don't know. I really like Battlefield TDM. I only play Conquest in Battlefield when I plan to sit down and play for like a couple of hours. You know, you boot up a Conquest match, and those last anywhere from like 20 to 30 minutes. Then you go back to back to back, play for a couple of hours. But whenever I'm either making a video or just trying to get on, play a couple of matches, and just get that, like, you know, that quick, fast-paced action, I'm always going towards TDM. I also experimented with this game's Portal mode when the game first came out, where it kind of like lets you play previous Battlefield games inside of this one, or at least like use some of the assets and weapons from it inside of this one. It was a pretty solid, decent-ish experience at launch. I mean, I didn't do a whole lot with it. I played some of the Battlefield 2042 stuff. There was like some fan-made mode or map or something like that on there that I played. You know, it felt pretty good to play. I'm not sure how it holds up nowadays or if people are even making content for it. I'm sure that there are. If Portal is worth checking out nowadays, and if you guys will want to see like a video just entirely entirely playing Portal mode and experimenting with what they have on there, I mean, I'd totally be down to do it. I know one thing that really disappointed me before the game came out was the fact that this game doesn't have a single player campaign. I know some people might not care about that stuff, but for me personally, I love the single-player campaigns in FPS games, whether it be Call of Duty, Halo. Battlefield's past campaigns were always amazing. Battlefield 3, 4, the Bad Company games, Battlefield 1, even Battlefield 5. All of those games had really great campaigns, and the fact that they scrapped it from Battlefield 2042 to me was like, what? I was like, it's in 2042. That's near future setting. They could have easily done a game that kind of felt like Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4's campaign was absolutely phenomenal, so if they could have done another campaign like that in a near future setting, oh my gosh, I would have absolutely adored that. But yeah, I must say, now revisiting this game a couple years after its launch and, you know, after they made some refinements and, you know, patched the game up a bit, yeah, this game does feel pretty good to play. The game looks a lot nicer overall. It feels a lot, not like performance-wise, it feels a lot more consistent, and in terms of like the minute-to-minute gunplay, it definitely feels a bit more refined and consistent than it did back at launch. And again, I mean, I've always liked this game since launch. I've always thought it was at least a fun game. I just never really had anything pulling me in to play it over previous Battlefield games, thus I was just going back to play like Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 1 anytime I wanted to play Battlefield. But at this stage of the game, with all the changes, refinements, bug fixes, content that's been added to the game overall feels pretty good. And yeah, anytime that I need my Battlefield fix, I actually think I will be getting on Battlefield 2042 to simply just play this game and, you know, have some fun. Oh, we got defeated again. I couldn't win in this video, could I? I'm really happy that I revisited this game. I never downright hated it like some people did, but, you know, it definitely wasn't a game that I really ever felt the need to return to. But now that I've played it, yeah, I actually do really like this game. As I said, anytime I need my Battlefield fix now, I'll definitely be playing Battlefield 2042, and if you guys would ever want more content on it, just let me know, because I had a lot of fun in this video. And to quickly answer the title, no, Battlefield definitely is not that bad. In fact, I would say it's really good. I'll still say, like, you know, part of the way that the game feels definitely doesn't feel as refined as some of their previous games, but, you know, despite all that, despite some minor nitpicks, it's a great game. It's a lot of fun, and it's on EA Play now, so you can literally get it for free, basically, if you already have Game Pass. But anyway, now I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. Do you guys enjoy this game? Have you guys been playing it since launch? Have you just dived back in recently? Have you been thinking about diving back in? Whatever it is, whatever you're thinking, I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. But anyway, as always, a massive shout out and thank you to all of my patrons. Thank you to all of you in the $1 tier, and an even bigger shout out and thank you to all of you in the Big Baller tier, Mellow Last King, and Big Daddy Matty. And the biggest shout out and thank you of all to all of you in the G tier, Riding Revengeance, and Little Cheese Girl. You guys are literal legends. I love you. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.